I'm Michelle, and this is my audience, my husband Ryan, and my brother-in-law David. I don't have another person here face-to-face tonight because I don't have very many friends in the state, having just moved here recently. So I'm trying to make do. My topic for tonight is whether or not we should make home economics mandatory in schools again. I personally believe that, it should be mandatory for middle and high school students because it teaches very basic but very critical knowledge and life skills for students that, can come in handy at any point in time, honestly. So what is or what was home economics? I'm not sure how many programs still remain, but it is defined by dictionary.com as the art and science of home management, and it says that it studies nutrition, the purchase, preparation, and service of food, interior design, clothing and textiles, child development, family relationships, and household economics. According to the Independent Journal Review, class participation in home ec has diminished by up to 38% in the last 10 years, which is really crazy considering it does teach such valuable lessons, even if it doesn't seem like that, even if they do seem a little silly sometimes. So the Boston Globe has an article written by Ruth Graham, and it is titled Bring Back Home Ec, the case for revival of the most retro class in school. In this article, Ruth Graham explains the very many reasons why home ec has been and will honestly continue to be beneficial to students. It talks about how it teaches them how to cook and manage their finances and do simple things like sew on buttons when they pop off. In the article, she also discusses that almost a third of Americans under the age of 19 are either overweight or obese. This happens because of many reasons. Obviously, a sedentary lifestyle can be an issue, but it also has to do with the fact that many young adults, and many adults in general, don't know how to cook. So they opt for fast food or highly processed foods, just things that are very unhealthy and just bad for you in general. Another thing that causes this issue is that, a lot of people think that grocery shopping is, too difficult, a waste of time. They don't know what to buy, what is and isn't healthy, so what's the point? So I think home ec would really help in teaching young adults, again, how to shop and what to shop for and how to do it properly, as well as I want to say properly, as well as I cannot think of the word, but it's a good thing. It's always a good thing. So apart from not knowing how to cook, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of young adults don't know how to sew in general, not even a button. They don't know how to manage their finances, and the financial issue is honestly a really big issue that we often don't think about as young adults. But, as we move out of high school and into college, we have to start thinking about student loans and how to manage our money properly, being away from home for the first time. And if we end up moving out from our parents' home altogether, that's another thing that requires properly managing our income and just whatever money we do have. Although we don't balance checkbooks anymore because we have handy-dandy bank accounts and online statements and all of that jazz, and we have debit and credit cards, it's important to know, the difference between a debit and a credit card, or how to pick the right credit card with the right APR, and, how are we going to not get taken advantage of because we are younger and we don't know any better. And then, of course, things like sewing on a button or child development, things like that, are always super useful because that's where we're headed over the next few years in the course of our lives. And it's important to be at least a little bit prepared. So one of the issues with home ec in the past is that many believed that it was wrong to teach it because it reinforced gender roles and the idea that a woman belonged in the household and in the kitchen. Many people believed that the class basically was a how to be the perfect housewife type of thing, which in all honesty, it's not. It's a class that would be beneficial to all of those who take it, and it's just something that should be considered a class that teaches very basic life skills that will help us not necessarily get far in life, but how to survive, and it's important. So, why should we keep thinking that it is Housewife 101 when it's really Life 101? I don't know. Just something to think about. So I wanted to reflect a little bit on my personal experience with home ec. I only ever took a home ec class in the 8th grade, and it was under a completely different name. I think home ec was too scary for the people to hear. I don't know. It was definitely not as useful as it could have been because we didn't touch as much as we probably should have. In that class, which I only took for a semester, we discussed how to, sew on a button and how to do a very, very basic stitch to put two pieces of cloth together. We discussed how to make pancakes, and we made these nifty little things called barbecue cups out of Pillsbury Grand biscuits and ground beef and barbecue and cheese, and we baked them, and it was loads of fun. And that's about all we did in that class that I can actually remember so many years later. But even though I didn't learn as much as I should have, it was a good experience. And, when my husband comes home some days with a rip in his jacket or something, I can take my needle and thread and fix it right for him instead of dropping another $80 on a jacket, which is always really nice for our bank account. I stumbled upon a quiz. It's a BuzzFeed quiz, which I know is a little silly, but I thought it might be fun for you guys to try. And it is in my PowerPoint. But it basically touches on whether or not you would have passed a home ec class in the 1950s. And I took the quiz myself, and I got 4 of 19 questions right, which I think says a lot. And it says a lot about how much we need this kind of class in schools. And I hope that I have managed to persuade you guys to at least think about how important this could be and is. Thank you.